To Ephesus. To the angel of the church in Ephesus, write this: the one who holds the 7 stars in his right hand and walks in the midst of the 7 gold lampstands says this: I know your works, your labor, and your endurance, and that you cannot tolerate the wicked. You have tested those who call themselves apostles but are not, and discovered that they are impostors. Moreover, you have endurance and have suffered for my name, and you have not grown weary. Yet I hold this against you: you have lost the love you had at first. Realize how far you have fallen. Repent and do the works you did at first. Otherwise, I will come to you and remove your lampstand from its place, unless you repent. But you have this in your favor, which you hate the works of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate. I think I've heard that the Nicolaitans were the ones who were turning the grace of God into a license, and kind of saying that I like whatever's in the flesh is flesh, and it's like separating the two so that you can do whatever you wanted. But I'm not sure if that's the group I'm thinking of. Whoever has ears ought to hear what the Spirit of the church, what the Spirit says to the churches. To the victor, I will give the right to eat from the tree of life that is in the garden of God. To the angel of the church in Smyrna, write this: the first and the last, who once died but came to life, says this: I know your tribulation and poverty, but you are rich. I know the slander of those who claim to be Jews, but are not, but rather are members of the assembly of Satan. Do not be afraid of anything that you are going to suffer. Indeed, the devil will throw some of you into prison, that you may be tested, and you will face an ordeal for 10 days. Remain faithful until death, and I will give you the crown of life. Whoever has ears ought to hear what the Spirit says to the churches. The victor shall not be harmed by the second death. To the angel of Pergamum, of the church in Pergamum, write this: the one with the sharp 2-edged sword says this: I know that you live where Satan's throne is, and yet you hold fast to my name and have not denied your faith in me, not even in the days of Antipas, my faithful witness, who was martyred among you, where Satan lives. Yet I have a few things against you. You have some people there who hold to the teaching of Balaam, who instructed Balak to put a stumbling block before the Israelites, to eat food sacrificed to idols, and to play the harlot. I don't know. Obviously, this is way worse than what, but I don't know. I relate a little. Like, I feel like this sounds like it could be some of the struggles that we have in the US. Obviously, I think they were dealing with out and out, like where people are martyred and stuff, but I feel like it's very difficult to, I don't know, but this part especially, like the US, just kind of having the stumbling block, having the doctrine, the whatever it is that allows people to do things against their own conscience and make excuses, like and that we do blur the line between grace and license. But I don't know, that's just my own personal reflections, and I'm not, a super intelligent person. So likewise, you also have some people who hold to the teaching of the Nicolaitans. Therefore repent, otherwise I will come to you quickly and wage war against them with the sword of my mouth. Whoever has ears ought to hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To the victor I shall give some of the hidden manna. I shall also give a white amulet upon which is inscribed a new name, which no one knows except the one who receives it. To the angel of the church in Thyatira write this: The Son of God, whose eyes are like a fiery flame and whose feet are like polished brass, says this: I know your works, your love, faith, service, and endurance, that your last works are greater than your first. Yet I hold this against you, that you tolerate this woman, the woman Jezebel, who calls herself a prophetess, who teaches and misleads servants to play the harlot and to eat food sacrificed to idols. I have given her time to repent, but she refuses to repent of her harlotry. So I will cast her on a sick bed and plunge those who commit adultery with her into intense suffering unless they repent of her works. I shall also put her children to death. Thus shall all the churches come to know that I am the searcher of hearts and minds, and that I will give each of you what your works deserve. But I do not say to the rest of you in Thyatira who do not uphold the teaching and know nothing of the so-called deep secrets of Satan, on you I will place no further burden. I love that. Except that you must hold fast to what you have until I come. This is the same thing, like the harlotry is something that, I don't know, that word just triggers something about the US to me, just because of the things that we've sold, like of our values and our, there's just a lot of things that we will, if we're paid enough, will do. You know what I mean? And I don't mean it like, I mean, and not in just like like we'll do something terrible for money, but we're just raised to kind of, we're raised to work in these systems where these companies are taking advantage of and causing harm. And, like, there's just something about it that reminds me of that term that we are, that has, because the effect of it has chipped away at community and family and friendships. It's made it so that it's very difficult for people to have the kind of, especially community of faith that's needed, where it's safe to be vulnerable and that kind of thing. And we've done it a little bit at a time, and it's become such a normal thing that we don't even think twice about it a lot of times. But I don't know. And so I like this part that says to those who, I'll place no further burden, understanding that it is a burden already, when you're in a world that doesn't, a place that is so entrenched in things that are against what's right and true. But again, I am not a scholar. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just my impressions while I'm reading this, and I hold on loosely to all of it. So, to the victor who keeps to my ways until the end, I will give authority over nations. He will rule them with an iron rod. Like clay vessels will they be smashed. Just as I received authority from my Father, and to him I will give the morning star. Whoever has ears ought to hear what the Spirit says to the churches. Lord, give me the right ears, because sometimes I cannot hear what you're saying. I think I get impressions, but every time it's a little something new is open, but there's a lot of it that's still all wrapped up, and I can't